Hi everyone, welcome to iMumz Women's Day week. We have a lot of exciting sessions planned for you, and to start with, we have this session on understanding food labels. You would have already seen the posters and all that. So today we have two very special people, Dr. Manisha and Nikhil, who are going to discuss all about food labels for you. Dr. Manisha will share her insights. So I'll quickly introduce them and they can take over the talk after that. So Dr. Manisha, she is an academician and a researcher with almost 30 years of experience in public health and nutrition. So she enjoys communicating nutrition science to consumers. She tries her best to reach out to people and make them understand everything about nutrition and what you should be aware of. So she has also designed and has copyrights on a consumer-centric 15-hour course that she has made on food labeling. And she's very passionate about cooking, feeding, and eating. I think we all are. And like in her free time, she does enjoy gardening and caring for animals. So we are very happy to have you in this session, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as our guest speaker, we have a young boy, Nikhil. Nikhil is a fresher at NIT Trichy, and he describes himself as an inquisitive learner and a passionate debater. He is, in fact, a member of the Model United Nations committee of his college. And he wants to know everything about fitness, general well-being. So he's going to add some insights to ma'am's talks and ask her more about nutrition and what we should know about the foods we are eating. So welcome to the session, Nikhil, and we are looking forward to a very interesting conversation today. So Nikhil, you can take over.
Okay, am I audible? Yeah. Good evening, all, and thank you, Anusuya, for the introduction. First off, I'd like to wish all the people present here with us a very happy Women's Day. Even though Women's Day is technically on March 8th, we are all celebrating throughout this week with a series of back-to-back talks by eminent researchers and doctors. For me, obviously, the most important and special woman of my life is my mother. She's a gynecologist, and I look up to her in so many ways. But I think something that particularly stands out for me is how she balances her work life and her life at home, spending time with us and cooking my favorite meals and so on. And no matter how arduous her schedule gets. So, and I think, truth be told, I don't think those superhuman abilities are passed down to me. I'd say I'm inherently lazy in a lot of ways, but still something to aspire towards at least. But yeah, all that being said, let's move on to what we all came here for, a thought-provoking session on understanding food labels. So over to Dr. Manisha.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you, Dr. Ansuya, for the kind words. I would like to begin by thanking the organizers for inviting me over, Dr. Jayashree, who has been in touch with me all through for this program. So I hope I'm able to give you some take-home messages about how do you go about looking at food labels, decoding them, and making the best choices. Let me share my screen with you. Just doing that for now. Yeah, shares. Okay. Just a moment, I'm sharing. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So the topic for today is understanding food labels, and as we all know, it's iMumz Women's Day week, and today is the first session of the celebrations. And we all know, as moms or future moms or children like Nikhil of empowered moms, what kind of responsibility we shoulder at home and at work. So it becomes very important that the decisions that we take for ourselves and our families be taken in an empowered way. They must be informed choices. So that's what I'm planning to do today. So the basic question is, why should we pay attention to food labels? Is there a need to do that? Yes, there is a need to do that. Our grandmothers didn't have the amount of choices that we have now, and it's mind boggling. So times are changing, foods are changing, snacks are changing. We are all aware of all this, and why this change, even this is very clear. Our lifestyles have become very complicated than earlier, and all of us have less time, we have less support at home. Most of us live in nuclear families, and to worsen the situation, we are spoiled for choice, and hence it's very important, to choose what we eat, because finally we are what we eat. You can imagine yourself as being built by the food, so everything that we eat turns into some part of our body. Like in the slide, I'll try to tell you, every 35 days the skin replaces itself. So every few days or months, all cells of the body change and have to be rebuilt. So literally, what we eat becomes us, and therefore what we are depends a lot on the food that we eat. So we have a choice in what we are made up of. We spend so much of time deciding what saris we should buy, or what nail polishes we should buy, or whatever, every choice, or a home that we make, for ourselves. Even when we buy a home, we think of the best material, all the best things to the material that is used to making a home. But what is our real home? Our body is our real home. So we've got to make efforts of choosing well. And that's where food labels come in the picture.
And yeah, I
Okay.
think for a lot
Yeah.
of people,
Yeah.
good health and physical fitness is mainly thought to be associated with things like regular exercise and physical exertion. But the truth is that it's more about what you eat and more about what you choose to omit to eat that will help you in the long run. And I think a lot of experts have highlighted this with that 80-20 rule that they talk about, that prime health should be 80% focus on your nutrition and 20% focus on your workout and all that.
Yeah, very rightly said, Nikhil. I don't know the exact proportion of 80 or 20, but I do know that to have a happy life, we need a healthy body, a healthy mind, and for both these, we need to have healthy food choices. And we all know this. We all know that if we are not eating well, you know, there are these. I'm so sorry. I press some wrong button. Just a moment. I will go back to. Mm-hmm. Okay. Exit full screen, and I'm going back to my PPT. Can you see this? Can you see it well?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Sorry for the glitch. Yeah, we all know this, that there are so many diseases, and these are on the rise due to unhealthy diets as well as less physical activity, even habits like smoking. So we got to take care on all the fronts, not only food. So, why healthy eating is so important? Because we all want to have positive emotions. They are very important, especially in these COVID times. The pandemic has taken its toll on our emotional health. If we don't eat well, it can lead to a lot of negative emotions, lot of frustrations, jealousy, grief, and people are actually going into depression. I can see youngsters going into depression, young children going into depression, and that's not a good sign. So we got to eat well, because food affects our mood, and these are the neurotransmitters that play a very important role. I won't dwell too much into it, but junk food or wrong choices can actually spoil the insulation of our brain cells, which is important for transmitting messages. Whereas when we have smarter choices, we have better neurotransmitter fitting and transmission. So the sum of the entire thing that I just said is the effect of poor food choices isn't just on us, whether you're a student or whether you're working. It affects every part of our life. It affects our career. It affects our family. One person falling ill and the entire family collapses. And at the societal level, also, we are actually undergoing an economic slowdown. None of us, whether at individual levels or at the societal level or the family level, can afford to be not very conscious about our food choices. Since I'm talking to young moms, I have specifically focused on children. It is a realization that their taste buds have changed, the palates have changed, and they definitely prefer foods with more salt and sweet levels than the previous generation. And because of this, there is a phenomena seen. It is almost known as food addiction. It leads to binge eating. They just can't stop eating in the regular portion size. And home food is less appreciated. So, this is something that we all need to worry about. And this is why food labeling is very important. Okay, now, as young moms or moms to be, some of you, I know your struggles. I'm a mom myself, and the struggle is extremely genuine. And shopping with kids can be a battlefield. They have their own choices, which is dictated by so many factors. But let me get to the point straight. They have got tremendous pestering power. This has come out through my research that kids literally can force you to buy things due to pestering. Why not when they are flooded with so many colorful messages, and messages like happiness is delivered instantly in 20 minutes? So it's very difficult for them to not succumb to those urges. But what can we do at home? Can we negotiate? Can we have some ground rules about how foods can be divided into treat foods, which can be had occasionally, and what are the regular foods? Can we negotiate that we can have treats once a week, okay, and not every day? This is important. As moms or as parents or parents to be, this is very important that we don't have these tussles when we are shopping. We need to set the ground rules much earlier and when they are much younger. So, moms, you all I consider the gatekeepers of nutrition. So, what you store and what is accessible at home is totally, I wouldn't say totally, but at least 80% in your hands. So, what is there in your homes, in your cabinets, in your fridge? Please have a control over that, because that's where kids and your family members and you yourself will make choices. So, let's be food wise. I'm not saying as a nutritionist don't have this and don't have this, and some foods are superfoods, have only superfoods. No, 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 no. Let's be wise. Okay. Choosing healthy is not about saying I can't have this. Oh my god, it has so many calories. Or I eat this though I hate it because it's a superfood. See, once you have the information, ladies, and the gentlemen who are watching this show, you have the power. You are empowered to choose good food. And when you have good food, you decide how your body looks, how you feel, and how you function. So it's very, very important to be food wise. Can we play a game then? Are you all ready for a game?
I'm
Can
ready.
you hear me? Can you hear me, Nikhil and
I can hear you.
yeah, Nikhil, you were saying something about supermarket and choices, right?
Yeah.
You were
Uh,
asking something.
so I was actually thinking about how supermarkets are essentially designed to lure you into buying all kinds of goodies like chips, chocolates, biscuits, the usual culprits. When I walk into a store, even if I went in to buy a piece of a packet of batter, I find that inevitably I end up buying something or the other. And again, like you said, I can't help it. We kids these days have a very enticing options, and the way these products are placed, the way they're marketed, and especially the ones placed near the billing section. Those last minute add-ons. All of these classic marketing schemes. It's very easy to fall prey to them.
Right, right, right. It's very difficult to make choices, and we are spoiled for choices. So actually, I play this game. Most of my sessions are face to face, and now I got to do it virtually. I'll try playing this game with you. See, imagine you are in an aisle like this. Okay, you are in a supermarket, and then you come to an aisle where you see a shelf where you see these biscuits. Biscuits have become part of most of our lives. So decide for yourself, what would you choose and what would be your reason for choosing the product that you will choose. Just mentally pick up a product and think of a reason why you have picked up the product. I'll give you 2 seconds for that. And actually, in consumer studies, we have found that a consumer takes not more than 2 to 3 seconds to make a choice. So I believe you would have already made your choice. And if you were in a supermarket, already that product would have been lifted and would have been in your basket. So then, what was your reason for your choice? And in the research that I conducted, taste was very, very important. And next came the brand of the product. Of course, convenience is important, but two things came out very well in my study. And I suppose these are the two factors which most of you would have thought of when you played this game with me. Okay, why does this happen? Look at the products again. Look at the beautiful colors. A lot of research has been done on the color combinations, the shapes, the sizes. All these distract us, and this is known as the front of the pack. The front of the pack is what we see on the shelves, and that is what entices us. That's what hypnotizes us. Okay, what else? The taste, previous experience. You would have tasted that product earlier. You remember the smell, you remember the texture of the product when you see that packet on the shelf. And then you say, your mind says, this is good. It was lovely last time. I enjoyed this, so I must pick it up. And then come more temptations. So when we go to a shopping market and there are offers which you can't resist, buy two get one free. Now it's very difficult because in our minds there are so many factors going on. Budget is one of them. And then, I'm sorry, yeah, and then there are these different kinds of packages. And then you realize when you buy a smaller packet or a smaller bottle, it works out to be more expensive than to buy a bigger multi serve bottle or a multi serve packet. So we do tend to pick up things which are on offer. We do tend to pick up things which are larger packets or bottles. Okay, so these are temptations. But then, we have to overcome our temptations, and we are talking about reading food labels. So then there are so many messages on that front of pack. But do we really know whether those words and pictures actually mean what they say? Like you would have read so many things on a label, and you often wonder, whether this product is really fat free, or you just look at it and sugar free and you pick it up and you put it in a basket. So we got
Yeah,
to be careful. Yeah, Nikhil, you're saying something?
yeah, like you said, ma'am. So in every product that we buy, you notice how that the front of the box has these big highlighted words and jargons, which basically attempt to sell you out on a bunch of things. Firstly, the taste. They attempt to lure you in with the visual appeal and flavor. They mention the flavor and the ingredients they use. They say they bring in herbs from Brazil and all of that. And secondly, which is a fairly recent addition, because I think people nowadays are gravitating towards being more health conscious. And so companies now have adopted this new strategy of mentioning something about the product that makes it seem like a healthy option on the surface. Like, for instance, like you said, baked and not fried, or enriched with all the essential vitamins that you need. And so all of these are tactics in the hopes that we are gullible enough to be sold out on them after reading these phrases.
Correct, correct. So we got to be careful. They are doing their jobs well. So we got to be careful by doing our choices well. So then we should always spend a little time to wonder whether these images and the words that are there on the products, are they really reliable? You know, are sugar-free products really sugar-free? Then what makes them sweet? We must find out, like, whether this dahi would really make somebody as slim as this model is shown. We got to really think hard. So this is what generally I have packs of these, and then we discuss out. So young moms and consumers, you look at the front of the pack, and there are so many things. Like if you got a little baby girl who hates drinking milk, you would rather pick up the strawberry milkshake, because that way you think your little baby girl will drink milk. Or some youngster, who is health conscious, may pick up something like this. Or somebody else who's a sports lover may pick up this. So we got to be careful to check whether what they are showing on the label front of pack is actually what the product has. So is there real strawberry? Okay. Or is there something else? We need to check out. So there are some tips for reliable food choices. I would advise you not to choose blindly on the basis of pictures or words. So there are two things that you can look out for reliable food choices. One is the ingredient list. Very, very important. Don't miss this out. It just takes a few seconds. You don't need to know any of the jargon. Okay. And the second part of it is the nutrition label. And both these things are either on the back of the pack or the side of the pack. So we must make some efforts to lift that product and look at it, very clearly, to check these two things. So I'll show you some few examples, which are on the side of the pack or the back of the pack. So ingredient list, look at this. Very similar products made from the same company. But look, the composition is different. Here there is rolled oats and here there is rolled oats, but there is much more of oats in this. And here they say no added sugar. But then what makes it sweet? The apple juice concentrate. So I know that this is no sugar, but yet the product will be sweet. Whereas look at the same, another product which is very similar from the same company, less of oats, but it also has wheat flakes. But look, it has got the wheat flakes have sugar, and it has invert syrup, which is also a sweetener. It has raisins, which is natural sugars, and then it has honey. So here itself I can see 4 different sweeteners. So I should be knowing, I'm not saying that this product is better than this product, but I as a consumer should be knowing that sugars are there in this, whereas sugars are there only in the natural form in this. So I should be knowing this as a consumer. So when you're looking at the ingredient list, just check the first few ingredients. The largest ingredients are listed earlier. Okay. Very simple way of doing it. If sugars and salt and fat comes in the first, second or third ingredient, we got to be careful. Also, if the pack says, it has strawberry something or mango something, check if there are real fruits added or they're just fruit flavors. Okay. So if there are certain things like sugar, fats and oils and salt that appear earlier, we have to be careful. That means these things are there in larger amounts in the product. Okay. So this tiny box tells us a lot, but even in my research, I found out that hardly 28% of Indians use this, that too urban educated Indians, okay? Forget the others. And the reasons that most of you would also say that I don't have time, okay? I don't understand. And many of us get intimidated by numericals, by numbers. It doesn't make any sense to me, I don't know what saturates are, what sodium is, what salt equivalent it is. So all this doesn't make sense to me, and therefore many people don't look at this part, which can be valuable at times when you're trying to have a healthy balanced diet. Okay, so let's not be scared of this. Many a times I've come across consumers not using this little box because the font size is extremely small, and I agree with you. So we can use technology for this. We can click a picture, we can enlarge the picture and read the label. If you don't have time, you can do it at home. All these product nutrient details, the values are available on website. So you can do a little homework at home, and you can go and buy the product which you feel is the right fit for you and your family. So this can be done. Try using this. Don't have a blocked mind. Try to use this. This is what was proposed to make life easy for consumers in India. It is there in the draft policy, but it has not yet got converted into action. So something like this on the front of pack would have helped consumers in India to make better choices. So here you easily know that added sugar is red, so I should, if I am calculating my sugar, or I have a diabetic person at home, then this product may not be the right one for me. Or if I have this product, then I should control the rest of the sugar that I have in all the other part of the day. So it's very important, but this is not actually come into practice. We are waiting. But there are many other countries which are already doing this. So these labels that you can see are there on the front of pack. Okay, so something like this, it makes it very easy for a consumer like you and me to know that this product has less fat, less saturated fat, but it has high sugar and medium salt. Or looking at this, I exactly know what is there. Okay, or in each serving, maybe of two biscuits, I know what is there. Or there are these symbols which have done the homework for us, and they say this is a healthy choice. So there are many things that are happening. There are black box warnings on food labels like we have on tobacco products in Mexico and Chile. Okay, so such things are happening in the rest of the world. A lot of discussion is going on in the expert sessions that are happening in India too. Let's hope we work towards a format which makes it easier for you to read the labels. But for now, we need to know some basic things, and most of you know there are different nutrients, but the nutrients we got to focus on is what we have less of. And
Also,
Indians,
ma'am,
yeah, you were
I'm
saying
sorry for
something, yeah.
interjecting, but I noticed that you were talking about all these systems around the world. But
Hmm.
specifically in India's case,
Hmm.
uh, companies are, of course, mandated by law to clearly lay out legibly all the ingredients they use in food labels. According to the Food Safety and Standards Regulation, which was issued in 2011 by FSSAI under the Ministry of Health and Welfare. And
Correct.
it's scary to think that companies would rather not print out this information on most prepackaged foods if given the choice. But even then, they find ways to paint a misleading picture about the contents. For example, like you brought up earlier, it is mandatory for ingredients to be listed by weight in a decreasing fashion, and so they use smaller amounts of 3 to 4 types of sugars, which then give the impression that the product is low on sugar.
Yeah, but they are being open about it. It is our job to be more vigilant. Right?
True.
So they're not hiding it. It's open to us provided we are more vigilant. Okay, so what are the nutrients that we must look out for? We must look out for products which have more of these proteins, fibers, vitamins, and minerals, and we must limit fat, saturated fats, added sugar, and salt. So, how do we do this? It's very important that how do I make sense? Your question would be, how do I make sense of all this technical information? So, we have to look out for these products. Okay, so for that, we got to know which are the ready to eat categories which can have lots of different types of fats, like the biscuits we consume, the farsans that we consume, the chips of different types, and the extruded snacks like the fryams or something like that. They can be having a lot of fat, and fats are not necessarily good or bad, but their ratios ought to be good. So we can't have a lot of saturated fat, and we shouldn't be having a lot of trans fat. Okay, trans fat is industrially produced fat that is not there in natural food. So this must be as near zero or nil when we buy the product. Whereas total fat and saturated fat, remember, lesser is better. So you don't need to get scared of numbers. Just pick up two packets of foods that you like, two brands or two things of the same brand, and then just check lesser the saturated fat, zero trans fat, better is the product, pick it up. Don't get scared of numbers and the values. Okay, another example, we it's come out very clearly that juice is considered extremely nourishing, and if kids don't like to have fruits, moms generally think that if they feed their kids juice, she's done her job well. But then all juices are not the same. So this is a very old slide. The cost would have changed, but look at this. In a juice, for a juice to be healthy, we need the vitamins, we need the enzymes which are live, and sugars, we don't need much of it. So the natural sugars that are added by God in the fruit are there. So look at this, look at the cost. Okay, the cost is less if we make the efforts of making fresh juice. The enzymes are more and all the vitamins are there. But whereas look at these packaged things, they're like the vitamins are likely to be destroyed because there is heat processing. Enzymes are definitely destroyed because of heat processing. Otherwise, the fruit juice will get fermented. Sugar, look at the thing. You got to read the labels. This is 100%, this is without sugar. The same brand, this has 5 teaspoons of sugar per glass, whereas another brand just has 2 teaspoons of sugar. So let us know, we should know what we are buying. Not all fruit juices are equal. Remember that. So not all biscuits are equal. We need to make efforts to read. So, which are the sources of sugar that you should be aware of? People go and buy health bars, protein bars, thinking that we can just pack a bar or two and the kid will be okay. Or flavored yogurt, to give the child enough calcium, or she hates milk, so she will have the yogurt. Dried fruit mithai, this is one myth, Dried fruit mithais have a lot of sugar. It may be natural, but read the label. Look out for hidden sugars. Check what makes it sweet. If there is a no sugar, low sugar claim, just check what is the thing that is making it sweet. You should be aware. Okay, tips. If the sugar comes in at the second or the third ingredient, be careful. I'm not saying don't have the product. Have it as a treat food. You can have it occasionally. Look at the other forms of sugar. Sugars can be there in different forms, and I've come across people thinking that palm sugar is much healthier than white sugar, brown sugar is healthier, or jaggery is healthier than sugar. The body does not differentiate between different types of sugar. The body will process it exactly the same way, whether it's a sucrose or the normal sugar, white sugar that we have, or it's a brown sugar, or it's jaggery. Remember that. Sources of sodium. Now, sodium you may not understand. That is what has come through my research. Sodium means nothing but salt. Okay, sodium is a part of salt. Salt we all studied in school is sodium chloride. So that sodium part of it is there, and it's there in a lot of these farsans, chivda, sev, muraku, and all those things that we love eating are traditional snacks too. Okay, lot of it is there in biscuits, chips, diet foods. So, and let me tell you that you need to read the ingredients. You need to be aware that not only through salt, but there can be some ingredients which are added as flavoring enhancers like monosodium glutamate. This is there in many of the Chinese foods that are there, or in the powders, taste enhancers that are added to foods. Be careful, that has sodium. It is monosodium glutamate. It may be in the ingredient list, you may find it as Ajinomoto or Testimo. Why are biscuits containing a lot of sodium? Yes, not because they are salty. People can easily associate salty foods with high salt, but they cannot associate biscuits with having sodium because it has it as baking powder, baking soda. We need to be careful because Indians, on an average, some studies have said that we are having around 11 grams of salt per day. And some studies are now saying that because we are being conscious, we come down to 7 grams per day. But we still have a long way to go. We have got to go down to 1 teaspoon of salt throughout the day. And we can't then afford to have very salty foods as snacks or when we buy it from the market. Okay, this is another thing that has come out very clearly in my research, that foods are the most misunderstood. People read the labels like healthy gujia, no sugar, no kwa, no frying, so it must be baked possibly, or diet chivda, or baked chips, less fat. So try making such things at home and you will find that they are not edible. And then to make the products edible and sellable, what the producers may do is they may add a little bit more of salt than normal. There may be hidden sugars of fat or sugar to make them tasty. Otherwise, nobody would buy these added foods. And the second problem which consumers don't realize is because we have bought these so called healthy foods, we tend to eat larger amounts in a single sitting, and that becomes a problem. So because they are healthy, that doesn't mean we can finish the whole pack. Okay, or we can have four gujias instead of one. So might as well have one which is made well. Okay, so we need to check out the ingredients. Nikhil, you're saying something? Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nikhil. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, so now you talked. So coming to the crux of this session, I am in a supermarket, product in my hand, and I'm skimming through the food label, which I have to admit is something new for me, since the only reason I ever turn to the backside of the packaging would be to either check out the price or the expiry date. So there's a lot of info condensed into a little square box, and I think you've shown us what is relevant for us and how we can interpret it, because there's a lot of information there that does not pertain to us as well. It's not useful for us. But like you mentioned, I should look out for the sugars. I should look out for the sodium. Sodium can also be included in hidden forms like baking soda and all of that. So yeah, I think this will help me become a more conscious consumer.
Yeah, Nikhil. I hope it helps the others too. Okay, so let me summarize it. You all know what are the things we should look out for and what are the things we should limit ourselves. I'm not saying zero fat or zero sugar. I'm saying low fat, low sugar, low salt in the choices that you make. Okay, the another thing I want to talk about is like once you decide at home that there are going to be treat foods, we cannot refuse treat foods. Kids are going to go out and are going to eat them if we don't offer it to them at home. So then how do we manage? So this is about shopping is one thing, using the food labels for shopping, but then you do tend to buy foods which may be high in sugar, salt, fat, and it's okay to have them as street foods. So then how should you manage it? The ideal thing is, though single serving packs or bottles may seem costly, it will make sense to buy them, but then we can limit ourselves. But in case you still end up buying multi-serving packages, those big bottles or those big packs, we can do very simple things. We can repack them in single serving portions. And when we are doing that, we can use these opaque containers. We can store them on higher shelves behind healthier options. So when the child or the adult is trying to reach out, you see something yummy and tasty ahead, easy to reach out. Avoid putting them in transparent boxes. The moment these visual cues are there, we tend to grab them, and then it can lead to binge eating. We don't want that. We want them to be portioned. We want to have them. We want to share them. We want to give them to the family. But these are some things we can do. You don't store them like this. Store them like this in single servings. Okay, that's one thing we can do. Okay, so my key messages for all of you is, how do we overcome all the factors that actually attract us to buying things that we don't want? To prepare a shopping list. Make an effort. You can store it in your phone and stick to the shopping list. The second point is very simple. Do not shop when you're hungry. Please eat first and then go out to shop. It'll make a difference. You won't crave and you won't then put in things that you don't want. Shop when you have adequate time, especially initially when you're trying to read food labels. You will have to invest time initially, and later you can make your choices in 2 to 3 seconds like you normally do. So once your label reading habit will be habitual and will get faster with time, and you know what exactly is what. Only for new products you'll have to look at food labels, so things will be much easier. Okay, folks, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the discussion that I had, and I'm wishing you a very happy, healthy life. And only one message for all of you: eat right, be food wise.
Thank you so much, ma'am. What an interesting session this was. Definitely an eye opener for me as well. So, for the moms, ma'am, there are a few queries that I would like to take up for you. Um, Vandana is 11 weeks pregnant. She
Okay.
says, could you talk about the vegan alternatives and if they are actually better than the counterparts?
Veganism is one trend that has hit the world, and these trends keep coming and keep going. So you should actually question yourself, why do you want to go in for vegan products? Because you are pregnant, and when we are talking about pregnancy, you are responsible for another life, the nutrition of another life. So when you talk about veganism, there may be certain nutrients you may miss out if you go completely vegan. Okay, like vitamin B12, which is very vital. Okay, so then you need to take supplements for that. Is that worth it? And why veganism? We have had a rich culture and heritage of having all our dairy products. So please introspect on why you are moving or trying to get towards veganism. There is no right or wrong answer, but to reflect, if you want, you can talk to your gynecologist, because if you are thinking of your being a vegan all through and all your choices going dairy free, then we must find out solutions for you that you don't miss out on vital nutrients. That's it. And the trend is catching on. I don't know how many products in India are truly vegan. I haven't actually gone through vegan products myself, so it wouldn't be right for me to comment on what sort of vegan products are available and are they really vegan or not. I hope you're satisfied by my answer, or is there anything else?
Yes, definitely helpful, ma'am. Ma'am, moving on to another question. What do you have to say about green tea? How effective is it, and would you suggest that people try it?
There are studies which have identified the active ingredient in green tea, and they do suggest, the studies research does suggest that it does have an effect on, it is associated with weight loss. I wouldn't say results in weight loss, because weight loss can happen due to many reasons. So just having cups and cups of green tea, is it a sustainable option? So we need to, whenever we are thinking of a choice, think whether that choice is sustainable. Okay, and just like there are so many ways you can have a weight loss. you know so just by drinking tea is just one part of it. You contribute to 1 or 2% of your efforts, but then there are other things that you can do. Eat healthier. When you remove something from the diet, substitute other things so that you don't feel hungry. Your stomach is full with fiber and protein, and you're getting the nourishment, and you're not getting the hunger pangs. So if you choose to drink green tea over black tea, it wouldn't harm you, but as a weight loss effort, you will have to put more effort in many other ways, by eating healthy, by having foods which are rich in protein and fiber, and also exercising. That will help you get to your weight loss gain much faster, in a more sustainable way, than just depending on green tea as an option.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, so there are few queries of pregnant ladies asking if it is okay to consume cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes, or muesli, or masala oats for that matter during pregnancy. Would you suggest this?
Yeah. If you like eating those products, Why not? Go ahead. It's a democratic thing. Food is a very democratic choice, But be aware of what you're choosing. Do read the labels, do read the ingredient list and the back of the package. If it meets your requirements and you love the product, go ahead and have them. Don't be scared. Enjoy your food.
Thank you, ma'am. There are few queries related to diet if you would like to take them because the users, I think they've posted a lot of them for you since they know you are a nutritionist. Uh, One of the queries here is I'm 2 months pregnant. Is milk important for calcium fulfillment?
Yes, I would say yes. Milk is a very good source of many nutrients. Except iron and vitamin C, it's almost considered a complete food. So it meets the requirement. If you're a vegetarian, especially, then it's a good quality protein that you're getting through milk and milk products. So ideally, you should have milk and milk products, especially if you're a vegetarian and you don't have other sources of good quality protein. But if you have non-veg occasionally, yes, you will get good quality products, proteins through your non-veg. But then remember that non-veg doesn't give us calcium. So calcium in a readily absorbable form is there in milk, and if you don't like milk, you can try having other milk products that you enjoy, or add flavoring agents like make a milkshake with fruits, or add frozen fruit purees and make yogurt at home or something like that. So you'll enjoy your milk and milk products and get your calcium and other nutrients too.
I have received another query. You mentioned milk being a good source of protein and calcium. Now, we do not get the desi milk that we used to get probably in our childhood, and we are taking packaged milk. So, how safe is packaged milk?
Packaged milk is found in many different ways. One is the polythene bag that we get, and the second form that is available in these shopping centers is Tetra Pak. So when I'm thinking of packaged food, it is safe. So the polythene bags may be subject to some adulteration, but there have been cases in many states where milk has been injected out, and it has been adulterated with water, which may not be of good quality. So that may be a problem in polythene bags, but Tetra packs are difficult to adulterate, and it has many layers, and the shelf life is much higher. So thinking of quality, Tetra packs would be a good substitute if you think about it from the safety point of view, adulteration point of view.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, this is a very common question we keep receiving. Can we have Maggie and instant noodles during pregnancy?
Yeah, why not? Why not? But then you can't live on them. See, cravings do happen. Okay, not only pregnant women, but anybody can crave for their favorite foods. But then remember, you are nourishing yourself, you're preparing yourself for giving birth to another individual. The individual is being formed inside you. That is a superpower that nature has endowed us with. So yeah, you can have your noodles, but in your noodles, if you have like one katori of noodles, the rest of the day, can you have something to balance it off? You can't have noodles for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. No, that wouldn't be good.
Thank you, ma'am. I think a lot of mommies will be happy to have that one katori today. So, coming to another question, we spoke about packaged milk. How about packaged curd? Does it have thickeners to give that consistency, and would it be better to make it at home?
Uh, Yes, any product that is made industrially will have some things to stabilize the product to avoid separation of, especially curds. We don't want the separation of the whey or the water in the curd from the curd. See, it's going to get produced, it's going to get transported, it's going to be on the shelf for a few days before it comes home. So there are going to be certain additives to stabilize the product. That doesn't necessarily mean it is bad for health, because all these additives are regulated by agencies. They are well tested that they are not adverse to health. They cannot be added in extra amounts that will cause any damage to your health. Having said that, isn't it easy just to set curds at home? Like you heard my intro, I believe in preparing food right from scratch. Making curds is no big deal, is it? We have milk at home. This warm milk, and you add 1 teaspoon of your previous curd, and it's done. There's no effort. So if you can do that, do it. If you cannot, just trust and have the curds in the market. There's no problem either ways. The choice is yours. Another
Thank you,
thing I
ma'am.
would like to add, I would like to add a tip here, just because we are talking about thickening of milk. You know what you can do is you can add a little bit of milk powder to your milk and then set it. You'll get very thick curds, and it'll be richer in protein and calcium too. That's a tip for setting at home, setting good quality set curds at home.
That's a nice tip. Thank you, ma'am. We will all try. Ma'am, coming to healthy eating that you said, like have healthier snack options in front so that you don't have to reach out. So, can somebody having gestational diabetes have dry fruits and nuts as snacks?
Yes, but the person will need to be in touch with a dietitian in the hospital, because we don't know what the levels are, and how they got to be controlled. As a snack, then she will space out your meals in such a way that in case you feel like having dried fruits as your snacks, she will space out and give you options that way. So it's case to case. I cannot have a blanket statement saying that all just women's having this thing of gestational diabetes can have nuts. So the timing and the portion of these dried fruits is very important, because they contain natural sugars. Okay, so it'll be better to have a good consult at a personal level and to customize your diet plan for yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. There was a craze a few years ago that sugar supplements are better than actual sugar in reducing weight. So, what are your thoughts on this?
The sweeteners, yeah, do reduce the calories in the food. Okay, so you tend to eat lesser calories, but the danger is, like I told you earlier when I was talking about diet foods or sugar-free foods. What the consumer thinks is it plays in our mind. It's a mind game, and we think we are having something healthy, and we may eat more biscuits or more of that food than we would of your normal food. And artificial sweeteners, some of them, if a person is having a lot of them through food, can have a few side effects. It can lead to indigestion. So read the labels. They mention the name of the sweetener, and they do have certain cautionary messages on the label behind that it may lead to indigestion, or it is not suitable for children below this age, or it is not suitable for people with metabolic disorders like phenylketonuria. It depends. So you got to read the label so that you make your choice as well.
Yes. Ma'am, you mentioned that monosodium glutamate would not be a very safe option, but does it hurt the fetus during pregnancy? Like, is it not supposed to be consumed at all?
Ideally, yeah, there is evidence that children below 2 should not have not be given monosodium glutamate. Okay, it can cause certain adverse effects. So even in pregnancy, if one avoids more monosodium glutamate, it would be a good thing. Yeah, it's not because of the sodium part, it's because of the chemical nature of monosodium glutamate.
Understood, ma'am. Ma'am, last question for you today. So we are getting queries about safe snack options for our pregnant women if they don't want to binge on these things. And is it okay to have poha, boiled eggs, groundnuts? And is there a tamarind, like some things may made with tamarind? Like, is there a limit that they should have? How much can they consume? Like tender coconut water, probably. So, how would you like to take this?
Uh, in terms of portioning, it would be nice to go by the portion sizes that our ancestors have had. We all have a nice katori at home. Okay, so that much of portion size of any food will be okay. Try to have a lot of focus on proteins and vitamins and minerals, because these are the things which are missing. So what will give you proteins would be, like I said earlier, milk and milk products. Also nuts. You all can have nuts, especially omega-3 rich nuts, like you can have walnuts, you can have almonds, but then the portioning is important. You can have about 15 grams. That's one feastful at a time. That should be enough. It'll fill you up, it'll give you protein, it has good quality fat. What are the other options I can think of? Yeah, boiled eggs is fine. Paneer pieces made at home are fine. Something like flax seeds chutney. It's very filling and it has also a lot of omega 3, which is good for the development, overall development. Of course, whole fruits can be had as snacks. Sprouts can be kept ready, and you can mix your favorite chutneys with it. You can have your mint chutney, your khata meetha chutney ready, and you can just mix pomegranate seeds and sprouts and the chutneys and enjoy it with a squeeze of lemon juice and chaat masala. There are many options available. Okay, so these can be pre-prepared and like prepped and kept in your fridge so that when you crave for them, you can just reach out to them very easily. It's possible.
Thank you, ma'am, for that session. Now, I'd have a question for Nikhil. As a young boy, like, what do you think about the session? And like, have you decided to make better food choices? And what are your thoughts about the session today?
Yes, definitely. I think in today's session, for me, firstly, it was very informative, but more importantly, a lot of misconceptions rectified. Especially, I can't recollect, but there's this one point about jaggery and brown sugars. For a long time, jaggery has been a big guilty pleasure of mine, but I think now, ma'am mentioned that in whatever way, sugar is still sugar, and still the way your body processes it, it is going to be the same. And so I think as a teenager, I had a lot of takeaways, and I'm sure that a lot of moms and moms to be will have many more takeaways because this was more specific to their context. So yeah, overall, love this session, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to discuss with ma'am.
Exactly. Even I was like so sure that brown sugar and jaggery is so healthy. I like substitute it with brown sugar was my option. So yes, definitely an eye opener
Can
for
I,
so
can I
many.
add? Can I add one more thing? There is a lot of
Yes.
misconception about salts also nowadays. People think brown salt, Himalayan salt, pink salt are healthier. The amount of minerals that they have are not significant enough to have any health benefits. So, and your body will process black salt, pink salt, Himalayan salt the same way as it does your white salt. Okay, so since we're talking about different forms of sugars, I thought it'll be better to
So
clear that.
would stevia be a good substitute or is it the same?
So stevia is a good substitute. It is one of the current ones with not many adverse effects as of now, as compared to the earlier sweeteners that were there about 15-20 years ago. But then again, is it sustainable? Why not have a less portion of sweet made well in the right way instead of compromising on the taste? It does have a aftertaste.
Absolutely, ma'am. Okay, just quick questions on what you had said. Is pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, etc. a good snack?
Yeah, yeah, why not? Yeah, they are very good in certain micronutrients, especially magnesium. Yeah, so if you like them, you can munch on them. Go ahead. It's a good choice. You can have store them and have them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are running out of time. We've already taken more than the time we had originally planned. So I'll close the session here, but our users are extremely grateful. They are posting on the chat that it has been very insightful for them, and they will definitely try to incorporate your health options and read the labels from now on. So, and Nikhil, thank you so much for being a part of this. And it was pleasure having you both on iMumz. And to all the viewers, we will see you in the next session tomorrow. We are really excited to have such good panel of speakers throughout the Women's Day week. Thank you and see you all tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.